Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe. That is Stephen Howson. We are talking Manchester United versus Liverpool. How United can beat, hurt, damage, and be victorious over Liverpool.
Take a draw, though, wouldn't you?
I absolutely take a draw. But that may be part of it. So we're going to get into that. How do we approach the game? What do you think the safest way? What do you think the most likely way is that we will approach this game? And how can we hurt them? Because whilst they've got on the surface, I think they've won something like 8 of their 11 games so far this season. But
they've lost 3 on the bounce.
They've lost the last 3. It's the first time in Arne Slot's career that he's ever lost 3 games in a row. It's the first time in a while that Liverpool did, because I think they lost 5 or 6 at home in a row under Klopp at one stage. But it's not likely. It's not usual, should I say.
They're outrageous at home.
Yeah, they are unbelievable at home. And that's been the case for the best part of a decade now. And part of that is proven by the fact that I think since 2015, Man United have scored in 2 games at Anfield. One was last season in the 2-2, one was in the 5-1 loss there. So other than that, it's been nils as far as United are concerned. It's the hardest place in the league for us to go, probably the hardest place in the league for probably anyone to go. And United somehow need to get some points. First of all, two-pronger. Is this actually a good time or a bad time to play Liverpool? Because, yes...
Bad time.
Why? Go on, start with that.
Because they're not losing 4 in a row.
Yeah. That was my thinking. But also, you don't want to play them after they've just won 6 in a row either.
I don't know.
Or
how many times do you roll a 6?
Well, that's the question, because we're sort of doing the gambler's fallacy a little bit here, aren't we? Where because they lost the last one, well, because we've had 3 blacks in a row, it's got to be red. But that's not necessarily the case.
The chances are it's 50-50 where it's not necessarily the case in football.
Yeah, of course.
You don't have a 33% split between win, lose and draw, sadly.
We take that at this point.
That would probably be an improvement on Amorim's record at the club, I imagine. Is it more like 50% loss?
Yeah. In the league.
Yeah. That's not good. So is it a good time to play him? I don't think so. I think having a bit of a reset, everyone's gone away with international. They come back, bit of a shakeout. I think you can see international breaks being bad if you're on a win, good if you're on a loss. They're just a momentum stopper, aren't they?
Yeah. And
it is a chance to reset, go again. You are the game on a Sunday. It's an extra day to prepare for everybody. Compared to the games that are playing on the Saturday, I don't think it's a good time to play them. If it was at Old Trafford, I think you could swing 10, 15, 20% more towards United.
Yeah. With
that being the case. Liverpool at Anfield at the moment, sadly, is a problem.
It's tough. I mean, it's the case in any sport, isn't it? And obviously 2 weeks is a big time off. Like, I was watching the darts the other day, and one of the players was like, I just took 10 minutes between sets, went off to the back, had a drink, had a little word with myself, came out and they won the next 4 sets. It's like momentum stopping, changing and just breaking is a huge thing. Just obviously mentally, and that does manifest itself on the pitch. Just in terms of your approach to the game, if it were up to you, would you go with a low risk, be in the game in the 85th minute and try and get a winner, or would you go for they've lost 3 in a row, and even the games they have won this season, it's not been barnstorming 4-0. Take it to them.
How many clean sheets have they actually had? Doesn't feel like a lot. Feels like they conceded
one against Arsenal.
Is that a 1-0 win?
The 1-0 win. They didn't have a clean sheet against Everton. They didn't have one against Southampton. They didn't have one against...
so they're leaky.
Newcastle.
Yeah, they're leaky. Got a keeper who's never conceded a goal ever.
That's a good point. So of those two just fundamental sort of styles, which way are you leaning?
I don't necessarily think you try and hang on till the 85th to get a goal.
Okay.
But I think you play off the back foot. You rope-a-dope it a little bit.
Yeah.
I would say you play counter-attacking football, and I would argue you try and score an early goal.
Okay.
But you don't gamble on that.
Right.
You try and wait for your opening. What have United been bad at? What's the main thing United have been bad
at? Conceding big chances on the counter-attack.
Yeah, transitions, I would say.
Yeah.
Attack to defending transitions. So if you're going to play counter-attacking football, if you're going to play off the back foot, which we actually did a little bit against Arsenal, we allowed Arsenal to have the ball. That's the blueprint for this game, but not be as bad at corners. Yeah. We had chances in the Arsenal game. arguably should have had a penalty in the Arsenal game. That is the blueprint for this match. You utilise which we didn't have an option for, which is Sesko to Mbeumo.
Yeah.
We've already seen that as a direct ball, flick on, Mbeumo in behind the defence. I would be putting something on that as a method of entry into the box and a way that we can get a goal in this game. I would be making a strong case for putting Bruno as one of the forward three in this, and having Ugarte, Casemiro. Our win percentage goes up when Casemiro plays. I think you put Ugarte alongside him and you get them to just rat the pair of them. And you're not asking Casemiro to cover the entire pitch on his own like he has to do with Bruno. He's got someone that can cover half of the pitch, and then Ugarte only has to cover half of the pitch. We don't see that enough with United at the moment. It's asking one of those to cover swathes of a pitch, and they look bad for doing it. You give them each other to help out with, and I think both of them end up looking better. You maximise what Bruno can do by his pressing, giddy, excitable, let me go get the ball, chase it like a puppy dog sort of nature, isn't harmed by him being in the front line. You put him on the left of the front three, you put Mbeumo where he normally plays, and you have Sesko down the middle. You go with Dorgu, because he can do both.
Yeah.
He's defensive and he'll get forward
He's
and
got
break.
a hell of an engine on him, hasn't he?
That might be all he has, but yes.
Yeah.
And I would go with Mazraoui on the right.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to be fit. There's a good chance it's Delo. I hope it's Mazraoui, because he's an absolute duel-winning monster.
Yeah. And obviously Gakpo out on that side has been one of their biggest threats this season. He's played well. Are you not considering Ahmad? And obviously we don't need to worry about what you think Amram's going to do.
He can be a late impact player.
Yeah. And obviously, so either Mazraoui or Delo on that side, who are you back three?
De Ligt and Euro are an absolute shoe-in. If you're going to go with Delo, you put Mazraoui in defence. If Mazraoui is going to be your auxiliary sort of wing back, it's a full back. You can probably afford to go with Luke Shaw, especially if you're playing off the back foot in this one. Yeah. You can trust him with the ball. He can move it into the likes of Casemiro and play it forward. It's probably going to be Luke Shaw in it.
Yeah, probably.
You'd probably be able to get away with Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
Because I think we're going to have a low back line.
Same back a bit,
so I don't think that's as problematic as it can be. You need to match. What people forget is when you play a predominantly counter-attacking game, doesn't mean that you live on the edge of your box for 90 minutes. There'll be moments where we have our back three on the halfway line. So you've got to be able to still transition from that to that, and then from that back to being on the back foot. As long as you've got the likes of the Euro to match the pace, the blistering pace that Liverpool have got in their forward line, you've got half a chance. And I think you set up with the mentality of be hard to beat.
Yeah. Don't
try and fight fire with fire. I don't think we've quite got the firepower yet. Informed firepower. And that's not to say they haven't. I mean, Isak hasn't scored. Florian Wirtz hasn't scored. There's so many narratives waiting to be broken this weekend.
Yeah, there is.
There's back-to-back Premier League wins potentially for Ruben Amorim, and what a place to go and do it.
Literally the best place you could possibly do it. Yeah. The hardest game in the league. It would be perfect. Yeah.
You've got Isak to score his first Liverpool goal. You've got Wirtz to get his first goal and or assist. There's so many narratives to draw from this game. One of them is going to happen.
It's tough, isn't it?
But I think you go into it like that. You've got to go in and be hard to beat. You can't try and stick it on them, because that's how you end up getting 4, 5 or 7.
Sort of what we saw against Man City. I felt like we went toe-to-toe with them a little bit, which on one hand I think is, I don't know if brave is the right word, because the word brave gets sort of bandied around when there's people doing genuinely brave things, but in a sporting context I think it was a little bit brave, maybe a little bit stupid as well.
Naive.
Naive, because we thought we went, you do it, we'll do it. Oh, you've scored 3 and we've scored none, because that's what we do. In terms of getting at Liverpool, a few things I've noticed just from watching them this season. One is Canate in particular, and just generally the playing out from the back hasn't been as smooth as last season.
He's injured.
He's injured, but he went with France and then came back, which suggests to me he's not
As injured.
As injured because they thought he was maybe available. So we'll see there. But he gives the ball away in difficult areas relatively often. I think their midfield, that sort of connection, the line through just hasn't been as clean. I think bringing Szoboszlai out, Gravenberch being in and out, I think McAllister's not looked like himself either. And then obviously there's this kind of the next section of Salah is nowhere near the player he was this time last season. He was getting a goal and assist pretty much every game, like both of them every game. I think, didn't he have like 20 goals and 16 assists after the first like 25 games or something last year? It was genuinely absurd. And obviously, like you said before about the others who haven't got going yet really, it's Ekitike who's looked very good, Gakpo's been good. But in terms of winning the ball back high up, and that seems to be one of their sort of weaknesses, can we do that and play a counter-attacking style? How does Amorim's press, which has at times been sort of kamikaze, match a potentially more sort of defensive style?
You don't go man for man across the midfield.
Okay.
You drop your back five back. Maybe you push one of them into midfield. Maybe it looks like a 4-4-2 as we saw a little bit against Sunderland whilst we're transitioning. That's what you want to see, is that it's a hard-to-beat shape. Maybe it's Mbeumo and Sesko are pushing and pressing from one side, and maybe you have Bruno sitting off over to the left. Maybe it's Mazraoui, maybe it's Dorgu on the left. I think actually Dorgu on the left, Bruno on the right, your midfield two in between, and then Mazraoui through to Luke Shaw in the back line is probably a really solid shape to have as a defensive shape. If it pushes over to the left, Dorgu can step out and press. If it pushes over to the right, Bruno can step out and press, and it kind of fits everyone's natural tendencies and positions. The only thing that's a bit iffy there is like you're asking Bruno to come from probably the left-hand side. So maybe you have to put in Mbeumo left-hand side of Sesko perhaps in the shape for it to make it work. But yeah, again, it's rotational. People forget how many different areas of the pitch you can be in. Wanting to win the ball high up and putting pressure on them to try and win the ball high up. If you don't, you just got to drop.
Yeah.
But you're pressing with your forward 3 or 4, which means that you've got 6 that can defend. The issue United have had is that we've been pressing with 7 and leaving 3. That's the difference. You can still put pressure on the ball, and you always should have pressure on the ball, but it doesn't mean that 7 of you need to go and like be in and around Liverpool's D and leave the entire back line exposed. Because 1v1, you'll soon start to see some of those 007s change into goals.
And also that's how the opposition have made such high quality chances against us with a relatively low number of shots, because when they do get a chance, it's 2-on-2, and from there some bit of sensible manoeuvring and you're getting a decent shot away, aren't you? In terms of winning and losing the game, what are you afraid of that Liverpool bring? Because you would instinctively, it's just Salah. That would have been not necessarily the entire answer, but a big part of the answer over the years gone by. They've got so many top attacking players, not all of which are firing. But have you seen a change in the way Liverpool make chances and the threat they bring? And does that, how do you think that will translate? I
don't know about the way that they make chances. They've not actually been as voluminous with the chance creation this season. I don't think they have, at least. Anyway, it doesn't feel like they have.
No.
I think that the way that they're playing is imbalanced. I think Kirkes has been a little bit giddy, and I think he leaves that back line a little bit. It's similar to what we're seeing, to be honest. Like, it's a little bit overexposed at times. I like Frimpong. I think he's a great player. I loved him. I think he'd have been a brilliant right wing back for United in our system. Don't think that's going to happen now. But when you've got him and Kirkes, you are asking Van Dijk and Konate to do a hell of a lot, especially when they don't have like a Fabinho to sit in and screen. It's just too many players that are forward-minded. Just one too many. When you think back to what was great, people go, well, Robertson and Trent used to push on for them when they were, Champions League finalists and that team. But the midfield 3 was 3 grafters. Yeah,
it was really. Henderson, Fabinho and Wijnaldum. Just Fabinho sitting, and then the other 2 just covering all just the ground.
Yeah. So you had, it was still 5 and 5.
Yeah.
That was 5 defending, 5 attacking. And I think it's almost fucking 2 defending.
Yeah.
And everybody else attacking at the moment.
Because Gravenberch has sort of modified his game to be a bit more reserved.
But he's a playmaker.
But yeah, exactly. McAllister can do that, but isn't hasn't been at it. Endo just isn't a top-level defensive player, I don't think.
And Wirtz isn't going to be that guy. So.
No. In terms of impact of the game, obviously Liverpool are fighting for a title, so beating them ideally would hurt them massively in that, 'cause I think they're 2 points behind Arsenal now. That could go up to 5, obviously. I know this is going to sound a bit stupid, and a loss is a loss, but is there a variation of this game where there's a type of loss that Amorim almost feels more safe after the game than before, or is it just it has to be a result, a draw or a win is the only thing that matters here?
There's a type of loss that's worse.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a type of loss that's better. If it's a really good battle with, Alisson comes away as man of the match, and when we've peppered them, I think it'll feel better, but it is still a loss.
Yeah.
I think United fans would take playing shit and winning, no matter
100%.
what, over a noble moral victory.
Mm. What do you think is going to happen? How do you see it panning out? Obviously the score, but more just the feel of it.
I'm honestly torn.
Yeah.
I'm honestly really, really torn on how this is going to go. We need to see this learning. There was different ways of approach in both Arsenal and City games. If we come out and we treat it the way we treated the Arsenal game, I think we've got a chance.
Mm.
But we've got to be hard to beat. That's the only problem with United. I think we can score goals, but we're far too open.
Yeah.
Look how easy Brentford scored against us.
Piece of piss.
Do you know what I mean? And then you look at the personnel that Liverpool have got at their disposal. Mate, I'd be getting lubed right up in that tunnel.
Yeah. I mean, also when you think like some of the goals we've conceded this season, the corners, the Brentford first goal in particular, all of them. But how often do we score goals as easy as the ones we concede? It's so rare. It's like a ball over the top, the defender's just onside, he takes a touch, smacks it in the top corner. Have we scored a goal like that in 5 years? That's just that simple. It is amazing. Give me a score. As you say, obviously things change. You see the lineup, it changes. You see everything, it changes. But or maybe a result. What do you think?
Draw.
I'd take a draw. I'd love a draw. It'd be fantastic, a draw, wouldn't it?
Might have an open top bus for a draw. I'm going to be honest with you, the way it's going.
Certainly an open top Land Rover, if they can do that. Right, thanks, Dave. Thank you for joining us at home. Let us know your thoughts on this game. How are United going to win, if they're going to win? And is it a bad time to be playing Liverpool, even though they're in their worst form in probably, 4 years? Cheers, Steve. Thanks for joining us at home. We'll see you in a bit.